This is our high-tech video editing setup. What do you guys all think?
I like my tripod.
All right, so this video is going to be a very interesting one because we're not supposed to be here today in Mexico.
Nope, it's a little surprise, but...
Yes, JetBlue let us down. But anyway, what we're gonna do in this video is talk a little bit about the airport, since we spent 7 hours there yesterday, and then came back to our house in Mexico. And then for that, we'll talk about our experience and what you should know about booking flights to Mexico, and then also go through a little bit of the airport because we had a lot of time there yesterday and got to walk the airport all the way through. Then at the end of this video, we'll go through sort of the day in the life stuff. We'll talk a little bit about the Eclipse that we saw, kinda, and then go over just other things that are in the neighborhood in the month of April. So without further ado, here we go.
Zeta.
And this is Stefan.
And welcome to the PV airport.
Yeah, not living simply in Mexico. Well, this video is actually brought to you by JetBlue because our flight is delayed for 5.5 hours, but you still need to get to the airport an hour before your normal check-in time and then have to wait around because the flight may come in early, but I got a feeling we would know how early it's going to come.
Yeah, we've been getting notifications all day. It's like, oh, it's delayed, 2 hours, delayed 4 hours, and so at this point in time, it's
5.5.
we just hope it won't be canceled. But
yeah.
Anyways, we're in April, and you know what? It's kind of been a little quieter. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon, and it's actually pretty light.
And I suspect after 8 p.m. tonight, when hopefully we take off, it will be dead.
Yes, good thing we got that $12 each travel voucher for Carl's Jr. to tide us over.
Yeah, usually we fly Southwest, but today we're doing JetBlue because we're going to New York because our daughter got accepted into a college there. And so we rebooked our trip and now we're delayed. So we're gonna get into New York City at 5 in the morning. Woo!
But anyways, so we thought we would actually, since we're here at the airport, kind of give you guys a little airport tour until they kick us out.
Yep.
So you have a little sense of what is here and some kind of good places to meet. If for some reason, like maybe you come here, maybe you've flown separately with some friends, and you've got one person that arrives an hour earlier and it's got to hang out. We'll kind of show you some of the little hangouts, kind of in the non-security side of the airport. To help you out.
Let's talk about the airport coming in. What we didn't get a chance to take a look at this trip is coming in and going through immigrations and customs. Of course, you can't video there anyway. And oh, by the immigration, customs, and the Shark Tank, which is the timeshare people that you must avoid. Of course, this video will be outdated in a year or two, hopefully, as they open up a new airport in Puerto Vallarta. So just keep that of note.
Right now, things have been a little inconsistent because there's kiosks that they're planning on, I think, implementing when people come in to probably streamline the process. Unfortunately, because it's still in transition, that is kind of making the lines back up. But once again, the lines right now are not as bad. So hopefully they'll have that all worked out by the summer.
Yeah, and one thing of note, if you're thinking about getting permanent residence or citizenship, Ada gets in and she can bring in the rest of her family with her in order to get in a lot quicker.
And you guys would be on the same line too as residents. As
residents, yeah. So anyway, but if you're coming in tourist, it seems to be a bit longer nowadays.
Coming in from your flights, the arrivals, is right out that door, right next to the Pacifico Isla Bar, which, by the way, that's if you got to wait for somebody for an hour or two, not a bad place to have a seat and have a drink and wait for them to come out of the airport. This is where the arrivals are. So if you're arriving here, your ride, if you have somebody meeting you at the airport in the arrival section, will be around here. Now, I mentioned one place to go wait for people was that little bar.
But it's super expensive though, right?
Yeah, but you know what? Depends. It's all relative.
And then you got the taxis?
Yeah, the taxis saw that from the outside. But there's also some places if you want to be in an air-conditioned environment right over here. And by the way, there's some restrooms right around the corner there that are kind of nice to go to.
And everybody asked you, what do I do with money? Where do I exchange my money? And all this other stuff. So after you come out of the gauntlet of running with the timeshares, all of the ATMs are right there that you use.
Yeah, right there.
And that's where you get your cash if you need cash coming into Puerto Vallarta.
Yep.
I'm going to show you how to go across the bridge and what's over there. So people are going to ask you if you need help, if you want a taxi, all that other stuff here. If you like on a all-inclusive or something, this is where they're going to pick you up. So we can walk along here a little bit, show you. I wish I was actually coming in and not going. But so this is always crowded. Even today on a light day, it's crowded. So we'll keep on going here and show you the route. Now, if you're going to go to the bus is here. Eddie did a good job in other episodes in taking this, but pretty much any bus going this direction is going to take you back into Puerto Vallarta. You can look on the sign, it'll say like Puerto Vallarta, it'll say Walmart, whatever, on the front. But that's a pretty good thing, and you can always ask the bus driver. So once you get up here, unless you have like heavy bags or bags that are not on wheelies that you can't really carry, this is where you go to go across to either the Ubers, the cheaper taxis. So you've noticed there's taxis over there too, but you don't have to pay the premium for being in the airport, which is quite a bit. And then of course, if you're going north to say Nuevo Vallarta or Nuevo Nayarit, as it's now called, you take the buses on that side. As you can see there's taxis down there that are just waiting for rides. And then over here, you can see Ubers and stuff waiting up here, allowing people to go there. And again, that's north to Nuevo Nayarit, and then south to Puerto Vallarta and Marina Vallarta. And by the way, if you're going to Marina Vallarta, you can almost walk it. We've done that in the past. So anyway, as you can see, there's quite a number of people that actually do this. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to show you is a great place to leave. Hey, how's it going? Gonna be on camera? So this is Tacon de Marlin, and that is the place to come eat if you have lots of time in the airport. We may end up here, we'll see, but check that out. That is yummy, 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 yummy stuff. Coming in, we had no problems this go around since it's starting to get on the light side of the season, but you expect a backup when you get to the airport to get dropped off.
All right, here we are. The Puerto Vallarta International Airport. This is what you see on the outside.
Oh, look at that handsome man over here. Yeah. Hey, sexy. Hello.
So there's a bunch of kiosks all around, depending on your airline. Some of them will allow you to be able to use those kiosks. Lots of wheelchairs. You know what? If you need wheelchair assist, you see these guys in the bright yellow. They're your people to ask. We have had such wonderful experiences with them, and give them a good tip afterwards. Upstairs is where the departures, where you would go towards security, which you could either go up the stairs.
And I like taking the stairs because it saves a lot of walking time versus going all the way down to the escalators.
Yeah, the escalators are down at the end, and the elevators are there. So it's all about what you want to do. So let's continue on. So some of these you can do self-service. I couldn't today. We've never used the kiosks. I can't because I've always got to fill out this form that I'm leaving because I'm a citizen leaving.
So Ada, when you go to the airport, what do you do with your water?
You don't bring it with you.
You gotta drink it.
You gotta drink it. So cheers.
Bottoms up.
All right, so security, right down there around the corner. It's usually not that much of a line, and shouldn't be too bad today.
Yeah, definitely.
All the gates have the same security, and yeah, they've got got little, that's not too bad today. All right, we got our tax and duty free. More shopping. Quick, spend the money.
We got problems. They don't have any tasting cups for the tequila.
That could be dangerous. It's kind of 3/4. We're really just two when you pass security.
This is the main one here. This is departing.
So security and the tax-free shops are just there. And the first one you'll come to has like a Starbucks, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Burro's.
And by the way, when you get like free coupons because your flight's late, it's for these places or a couple of them.
Yeah, KFC and Subway and Carl's Jr., right?
Yep. No Sparrow.
There's
Kind
a
of bummed
Carl's
about that.
Jr. Where's the Carl's Jr. here? I didn't even know they had a Carl's Jr. Oh, it was up on the other side. Darn it.
Yes. All right.
Oh, well, that's no Carl's Jr. for us. Oh, and then there's two, right now, as of 2024, there's two different gates. You've got the gates 1 through 6, I shouldn't say gates, but sort of two like arms. So most people usually for the international flights are going down 7 through 20. And then most of your local flights, right there, are usually are gates 1 through 6.
Checking out the urban corner where we're going to be for the next 6 hours. I don't know. What do you think, Arietta? It looks good.
My rear end's gonna be shaped like a corner.
I know. Oh. It's kind of funny. Usually when we're here, we really cut it close to our departure time, so that's not a problem today. So once you get past the shoppy shops behind me there, continue on the escalators to the main gate area. And there's a couple options when you get there. I'll show you when we arrive. Basically, these are the main gates. This is where you want to be when you leave. If you are unlucky, what happens is you go downstairs. I think those, it looks like, are gates 15 to 20. That's when you need to take a bus to your airplane. I bet you those are going to be pretty quiet because it seems pretty quiet today here in the airport. Gates 15 to 20. Again, these are the ones that aren't as fun to be departing from. Here's where I stood a few weeks back. Man, I tell you, what a difference a few weeks make here in Puerto Vallarta. All right, so now we're looking at 9 p.m. That's exciting. You know, we travel, or at least I travel, about 50 flights a year on average, give or take, which is kind of crazy for work and for coming down to Puerto Vallarta. This time, we were excited. Our daughter, as many of you know, is heading off to college, which is changing our lives.
So yeah, the college acceptance was a nice surprise, and so it just happened to be admitted students weekend was this weekend. So that was the reason we wanted to get there.
We decided to go JetBlue because it's a direct flight from Puerto Vallarta to JFK. Really cool, you know, the airline. And what happened, and this is the rule we broke, is that they only have very infrequent flights, maybe one a day, and not every day. And so we used them and we started getting delays immediately. The one point of note, and this is really important for when you go to the airport, is that they want you to be there, they want you to check in at least an hour. No, that's like absolute minimum hour.
And that's for JetBlue. Some airlines may have a different time, maybe it may be 90 minutes or whatever. So make sure you check your airline for an international flight, what time you have to check in to, you know, at the gate or to your ticket. Because when we got there, we were about 20 minutes before it would have been that deadline. And the lady came out from behind the desk because we were standing in line, got our names, crossed us off so that we were actually in that window.
And then what happened was, of course, the flight was delayed a lot. Like, it was supposed to leave at 3 something and ended up wanting to leave at like 8.
We knew it was going to be delayed that much because we called them at like 11 a.m. to say, what do we do? Are we still...
They said, you must go to the airport.
You must go in and check in an hour before your scheduled time. So that's why we had to go. We had to make sure we got there before 2:20.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you fly a lot, you'll know that if you've got like rolling delays like that, you know it's not going to end well. But we had to stay there. Flight attendants and pilots do time out. Of course, when you're flying, it was coming in from JFK, so they had like, was it 5.5 hours of flight time to let us know? No, they didn't tell us that until right about an hour before landing. So we stuck around the whole time, and what was difficult there is that if we had more hours, we could have booked another flight out that same day because it was so important for us.
You know, there's like more than a 4 or 5 hour delay, and they would have let us cancel and get our ticket refunded. And there's someplace you have to go. It's really important for you. I mean, if it doesn't matter to you, then that's fine.
Yeah.
They actually, they ended up canceling that flight or postponing it. So it's our driver's coming in 45 minutes.
Day later.
But they did put them up in a nearby hotel. We came back home.
Yeah.
But it might not be a bad thing though to, while you're in that long layover, to look at other flights that are leaving online while you're waiting wherever you're at. And if you can buy a refundable ticket, try getting that to see if you're able to do something different. If it's mission critical, like it was for us. We're really, really bummed.
The other difficulty is then they sent us home, right? And so we just went back home. Other people went into the
We were on our way
hotel.
home.
We're on our way home, and then we had a couple things where, the flight is still leaving this evening. And so we turned the taxi around, drove back about 20 minutes. Oh no, it's back to tomorrow. We drove back. And so we called them up, and not a great customer service experience. We actually were trying to rebook on, this is another thing. We were trying to rebook on, was it Delta Airlines? Very pleasant, very much better than JetBlue. And the challenge there is then I wrote back to, hey, JetBlue, this is our situation. We've booked, we're still going to get out earlier tomorrow so we can get part of the event to our daughter. But JetBlue texted us back or tweeted us back and said, well, if you cancel your flight and go on Delta, we will not compensate you in any form because of our delay. And it's just like, what?
Okay, Ada John D. Rockets, what do we got here? What's the price?
The price is 1,411 pesos.
1,411 pesos for 3 people. What do we get?
We got 2 single hamburgers that have fries. We got an order of chicken tenders that has fries, 2 milkshakes, and like a Lipton tea. $82, baby.
Gotta love it. All right, day 2. Guess where we're gonna go? Down to the trams. So this is the tram.
Yes. Oh yeah, we haven't had a chance.
No, we haven't had to do the tram, huh?
This is when you are, at least for right now, if you end up in like gate 19, 20, I think it's actually past 15 or 16. You'll end up on a tram and then you have to go up the ladder. So just a note, if you have somebody in your party who has impaired mobility, you don't get the jetway.
It's going to be so late that we were not going to be legal to fly back. So we were going to get back after 4 a.m. and because of when our duty started, we're not legal to do that. So that's why we're here today.
We are kind of now past the airport phase, and let's kind of talk a little bit more about what we were supposed to talk about, which are the day in the life, but actually these were things that were not typical day in the life, like Iowa in the NCAA championship for the women, and us going to find a sports bar to watch it.
Here we are.
Yeah, we haven't been to this before. Americana Sports Bar, right off the Malaga, so yeah, check it out. Well, Iowa didn't pull it off, but it was still a win for women's basketball.
Yeah,
so.
South Carolina was awesome. But you know what? That's a good thing about Iowa. They I think, and Caitlin Clark especially, brought women's sports and basketball especially to a lot of people, which is really awesome, right?
Well, we met some Iowans in the sports bar.
That's the one thing is it's always good to go see sports when you're in Mexico and Puerto Vallarta especially, is because you'll find a crowd of people watching specific games. And so definitely highly recommended if you are a sports team fan.
Yeah, that was actually a couple hours of just bonding with some other people, so it was great.
And the waitress always had a cold beer waiting for me and said, do you want this? And had it like right in front of me every time.
She was ready to snap that bottle open right there. An April day. Not a bad thing here in PV.
It's also a time in April where there's a switch. You've got the termites out. It's a little bit lighter.
I guess that's the critter of the episode.
Yeah, exactly. We're not showing it. We didn't do any video because they were attacking us at the time. But here's an old video. But this is what it's like. This is termites. This is our friendly gecko. We call him Gordon. He's a happy guy. Get him. Eat him.
All right, so I'm heading over to our house on the hill to watch the eclipse from there. Why is it going back up the hill?
Oh, I did well.
All right.
What is it, Ada?
I don't know. Is it eclipses or eclipsi?
That's pretty cool. Check this out. We got Puerto Vallarta here. We're just at the start of the eclipse action. And how you know there's eclipse is when you come down here, look at our table, right? And look at the little eclipses on the table. How cool is that?
All right, well, we're at probably, what time is it? We're at like 11:49, so it's getting close.
150, and it's a sliver. It's like a sliver, like a moon type of thing right now.
So the light definitely is definitely
Crazy.
Interesting around PV.
How bright it is.
But it's not, oh, actually I can tell now. I can tell it's starting to have a weird, there's a weird cast creepy over the city.
All right, so the eclipse was supposed to be 95%, which we thought was going to get dark. And Ada took a time lapse, and it really didn't get dark.
The sun is bright, even when it's only 5%. So that was good to know. Although our friends, their solar panels definitely showed
like a big dip, and then came back up.
Huge dip. So you know what? That was actually kind of cool.
Okay, it was good looking at the sun through the glasses and everything. That was cool. And then our neighbors had some really funky music playing, and
it was a cool vibe. We actually did a little bit of extra urban hiking to actually visit one of our listeners, one of our viewers, who is actually in the process of building a house in El Cerro and was inspired. So hey, you know what? I'm not gonna name names here, but thank you so much for
that was awesome.
Giving us the tour of your house.
Makes us feel good.
They were saying that part of the process, there were burros that were actually, bringing things up and down. And I haven't seen a burro out in the wild, not in the wild, but, around town. And then literally this week, we saw some. A little traffic jam ahead. Burros. Burritos.
There's some old pictures of our house with burros too, and so this kind of brought back to yesterday, which is kind of cool.
So I just got back from Tile World. I'm still walking. We have a few places in the house that we need to have retiled because once again, tile, not only is it decorative and beautiful, it's also very much a necessity when you have walls that are exposed to moisture. And we have one wall in our house in one of the rooms that the other side of the wall is a garden of the neighboring property. And so unfortunately when it rains or if they're just watering, it's like the ground is basically, it's always damp, and that eventually soaks through the concrete and gets to the paint. So anyways, I am armed with my little bag of sample tiles. Here's the tricky part on these tiles is that even though they may have them in the store, they may be discontinued. So we have some existing tiles that we like, but the problem is matching them is a whole nother thing. So we pretty much have to retile kind of some entire areas. But also there may be a color that we really like, but unfortunately there may not be enough of that color. So might have to get a little bit creative and put on the artistic hat to kind of intersperse some other tiles in there. So yeah, we'll see what we come up with. The suspension bridge is always that bridge you kind of wonder about. At least I won't be falling to my, well, I guess I won't be falling to my death in a creek bed, but maybe so. Whew. Anyways, balance challenge. So April, weather is pretty dry. This is dry season. I'm here on the Gulch Bridge. Earlier I referred to dry creek bed. It's really a riverbed. But yeah, things are pretty dry right now. But I have to say, the temperatures have been really, really mild. In fact, I find myself wearing a layer in the house in the shade. So it's actually been really comfortable and slightly cooler than normal, I would say. So anyways, that is April weather. Check out these bougainvilleas. springtime bougainvillea weather, and I love that we have them in different colors. Really beautiful. Ooh, we need to do a little gardening. Too bad I hate gardening. So yeah, so we've got some of these tiles that are a little worn, and that's what we're trying to figure out. And down here in the kitchen, we've got to definitely do something about that little gap. Our little Garobo friend, we don't want him to go down there and decide to come out and scare us. So we need to cover that up with something.
As usual, I got my hair cut and talked with Eddie about heading to Mexico City.
You look good.
Yeah. Mexico City is awesome. What's really interesting is with prices going higher in Puerto Vallarta, it's actually, I think in some studies say it's actually more expensive here than in Mexico City. And so he was talking about, well, I'll let him talk. Eddie! So I'm back, getting the hair done again with Eddie at Eddie's hair salon and barbershop.
Yes.
And always chat about things. That's the best part of hanging out with Eddie, is he always gives a scoop on things. And one of the interesting topics we were just chatting about a little bit, and you can explain, is you just went for, you kind of skipped out of Semana Santa here in Puerto Vallarta and you went to Mexico City, right?
Right. I wanted something different, and so just because I had the time,
Yeah.
I went to Mexico City, and I recommend everybody go if they can while they're here.
Yeah, I need to go. That's one area when I have some time to drop off to Mexico City. But I thought was really interesting. You had a couple, comments about, pricing and about, you think like Mexico City is super expensive, right? And I actually heard recently that Puerto Vallarta is kind of at the top of the list now. So
Right.
what was your?
My experience
Yeah.
was that I found that Ubers were much affordable, not for city prices.
Yeah.
Very nice, and you have the choice of an economic car, or comfort, or luxury.
Mhm.
Okay, so and that helps in determining the.
Because whereas here you get an Uber, period.
Yeah, period. That's true. And I went to some really nice restaurants. Everything I felt was affordable.
Yeah.
It depends what your budget is, but I found it to be reasonable.
Mhm.
And people were really, really nice. And I also think that it's an important trip because I'm walking around downtown, and they're inviting people into this beautiful Picasso exhibit.
Just come on in and see it for free.
Free.
Wow.
No, and then we're going to try to sell you something. Or no hooks, no catch moments. You just walk in, and they don't even ask you for a donation.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was great. And I walked around the Zocalo. I saw a couple of friends, and just enjoyed it. It was really wonderful. So it was great to be out of Puerto Vallarta, just because I'm here.
And the weather's different, obviously, a higher altitude.
The weather was perfect. The
Yeah.
weather was perfect, but the altitude affected me this year
Yeah.
more than ever.
Yeah.
Because I don't ever recall feeling that I was out of breath.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm getting older, so
Yeah.
that may have something to do with it.
Yeah, now is it hazy, the air quality, or is it?
It was, but I didn't find that to be my personal. But it was a topic of conversation
Yeah.
for a couple of people. But they depending on your license plate, you can't use your car that day.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, depending on the last letter of your license plate, you only can drive 3 times a week or 3 times a week, depending on your license plate. And it's to cut down, yeah. And a lot of things close on the weekends, so it's nice. I love it. It was a wonderful, wonderful trip, and I recommend anybody that wants to get away from Puerto Vallarta. Viva Aerobús has some wonderful airfares to get you that cheap. Yeah,
Awesome,
it's really
awesome.
great. You're there in less than an hour.
Oh, that is amazing.
It's
Very,
good.
very cool. So enjoy it. Do check it out, but don't stay there.
No.
Don't stay there. Come back here.
No. I'm here for good.
Okay, good.
I'm patas saladas.
Very excellent. All right. Take care, Eddie.
All right, you guys, make sure to like, subscribe, join our Facebook group, Living Simply in Mexico. And that was a whirlwind of a week.
Yeah, and so we're still trying to get to New York for a one day to go to our empty hotel room that's been sitting there a day for us. And so hopefully our daughter will get a little piece of what she wanted out of the event on Sunday. But anyway, wish us all the best. And you guys, safe travels. If you're looking to come here, if you're looking to move here, if you are here, have a wonderful time. And we need to take a bit of our own medicine. Don't get too stressed about anything, because we're all still here and all enjoying life.
Yes. All right, guys, we'll see you later.
All right, take care. Like, subscribe, TikTok, Facebook.
Oh, yeah, TikTok.
Yes, we may put some stuff up there too. Okay, take care, everybody. That's a cool picture. Look at that.